name is Jerrel. This is Mountain Home. Today I'll be sharing some tips and instructions on how to play the Autoharp. Today we're focusing on how to hold it. So to get things started, we'll be focusing on the seated position today with playing the Autoharp. What's very important is to make sure you have a chair at the right height. You'll see that your legs will need to be up a bit, so if your legs are sort of slanted down, that's going to make it very difficult to support the instrument as the instrument will slide down. So if you're playing a gig somewhere or a performance, you'll want to make sure that your legs can be quite parallel to the ground. So to start off with, let's look at how we don't want to hold the instrument. You may think that it's standard to hold it perfectly upright, but what's wrong with that is that your chord hand, which handles the chord buttons here, will have to move in a very unnatural position, and you'll find it quite uncomfortable once you get to those buttons down there. It's a very unnatural movement. You're also having to commit much bigger movements with your picking and strumming hand, which is going to result in some inaccuracies, and it's going to tire you out much more quickly. So also part of that is the instrument will push up against your jaw, and if you are singing, that's going to make it very uncomfortable. So the ideal way to sit with the instrument is actually to rotate it a bit, and the corner will sit on your leg here. If you find that it's sliding around, maybe you'll need a non-slip mat to some degree there. So when you have that sitting there, you'll see that it's a bit slanted. The instrument is no longer pushing up against my jaw. I'm actually supporting it a bit with my shoulder and with my forearm here. The forearm is resting up against the side, and I can actually hold that in place now, and I can reach all of my chord buttons here. That also means that you can now employ a strumming movement where all of the movement for your strumming and picking is basically going to be in your elbow, as opposed to this big sweeping motion here, which means you won't tire out and you can have much better accuracy. This means that you can actually set your right forearm on the instrument, and that can actually hold it in place as well. So it's really my forearms that are holding the instrument in place. I have a contact point now where my chest is now making contact with the edge of the instrument. This is my ideal position. If things get a little bit slippery, sometimes my shoulder ends up touching the back of the instrument. Now what you want to avoid doing is hugging and squeezing the instrument to where it's making significant contact with your body. Contrary to, say for example, a dreadnought guitar, where you can make full contact with the back of the guitar and it doesn't, the timbre of the instrument doesn't really suffer that much, the Autoharp has a significantly smaller body than a guitar. So any physical contact that you make with the back of the instrument will reduce your projection, and it will mute the timbre of your instrument. So it's important to try to avoid touching that. If you're just sitting at home and you're just relaxing and playing and strumming out a tune, it doesn't really matter. But if you are out playing a gig, or if you are playing alongside other instruments and musicians, it absolutely matters, because the Autoharp does struggle to keep up in terms of projection, especially if you have people that are chord bashing on a guitar, for example. So again, let's review that. I'm going to sit the corner of the instrument on my left leg. I want to make sure that my legs are basically parallel to the ground. You might even need one of those footrests that classical guitarists play in order to sit their leg up, but it is important to be able to sit comfortably and in the ideal position with this instrument. Again, I'm making contact here. I have contact with my chest, and you can again use your right forearm to help hold the instrument in place. It doesn't need to stay there. You can lift up and move as need be. That's all we have for today on how to hold it. Thanks for watching. I will be sharing videos in a long-running series on how to play the Autoharp. So please look forward to the upcoming videos where I share more advice and tips on how to play the Autoharp. Thanks for watching, and come home again soon.